Oh, okay. Yeah, I figured they would. Yep, yep, that's good.
We have 3 delinquents yet to come, okay?
It's a,
And it won't start till 7.
in fairness to them, it is a different night, but they all knew about it ahead of time.
Yeah, I hope they do, because.
They all
you don't
said
have
that
quorum,
was
so you'll have to
okay.
Come back. Here comes my man.
Oh, you got 3 now. We have enough to vote. Yep, do now. Let's see.
They're pretty nice guys most of the time.
Most of the time.
Sometimes Mark gets out of control.
Yeah, true.
Give me a lift to the house after.
Yeah, sure, no problem. How are you? How about you?
Good to see you. I'm good, I'm good. What's this training session on, Mark?
I was gonna do one on site plan review. I did
Okay.
it with the planning commission last month. Really, I'm just, since y'all don't meet that often,
Yeah.
I need to try to have a training session
That's fine.
pretty much every time we do meet.
Yeah, I
Just try to get your 4 hours.
Yeah, because we hadn't met since when? It's December, I think.
Yeah. You all got invited to that, yeah, I know you did, to that session they're having in May at the Arboretum. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on.
I know you're going. I don't know if Cleve was, I don't know if you were able to go or not. It's the one with the East Tennessee Development District.
It's what?
East Tennessee Development District, they sent out, I sent it to y'all a couple times.
Yeah, I got it.
I probably have that.
Yeah. I think
On
it's
email?
May the 19th or something. It's coming up in May. I can,
I'll have to look at it. That's a
Right.
bad day. That's the vice mayor's birthday.
oh, well, you can't go then. Yeah.
Is Corky coming?
As far as I know, he is, because he and Keith both said they could make it. So I wanted to make sure because it was a different night. I wanted to make sure because it was a different
Yeah, I
night.
remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Somebody's.
You worked the election there, Lou, or the?
No, I did not. No. Terry didn't
Oh,
invite me.
there they are.
There he is.
There they are.
There they
How
are.
y'all doing?
Keith, how you
Hello,
doing,
Corky.
son?
How you doing?
Oh, I like that Scott shirt.
Oh, I'm glad you
Isn't
did.
that a good look? I told you that's a good looking
Mr. Alley, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
Oh, dear.
How are you, man?
Doing well.
Oh,
How's your wife?
I hope so too.
Just
What side of the pack you on?
The wrong side.
Oh, north side, okay. Sure, that's all.
Almost made it on time.
You're perfectly
Are you
on.
early?
you're 3 minutes early.
I got 2 minutes.
I know it. Did you talk to your wife about what I asked you about your Jaguar?
No.
When you called me the other night, remember I asked you when
Yeah.
you died if you'd give me your Jaguar?
That's always a lovely
You told me you were gonna ask if it'd be okay to put it me in the
Mercy.
will.
Well,
You got 2 Jags, she doesn't need 2. Is that good, Keith?
Steve, you're something, I tell you.
I'm just glad that he's the butt of the joke.
I'll get you with a
I'm sure you
cow
will.
catcher joke one of these days.
You know, I had to get rid of that. I had to get rid
Your
of it.
tank?
Well, I still have the car, but the cow catcher got too squeaky, and it annoyed
Squeaky?
me. It squeaked, and it annoyed me, so I got rid of it.
Got rid of
I
it.
said, "How do you fix this problem?" They said, "Take it off."
Take
I
it
said,
off.
"Throw it away." I don't care.
That's funny. Y'all know we're being taped, right, for TV?
Oh, I didn't.
We
No.
are.
Didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, we are.
All right.
Yeah, we are, because they want to record all of our meetings from now on, have a record of it.
Yeah.
Pam came in, and of course, Mark still told us, in order for them to record it, they have to do it on the television, and television records it on their equipment, and then they transcribe it into permanent record for us.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Do I look beautiful?
Let me see. Oh, well,
I look the same.
your part is not right.
You and Lou,
I had a part?
I'd say you and Lou have the best hair here. He's third. Rest of us just hanging on.
The chair notes the time is now 7 o'clock. Therefore, the meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals, the town of Farragut will come to order. The first order of business will be to swear anybody who's going to be a witness. If you do you wish to speak to the board tonight?
Yes, Stuart, my architect, will be speaking on my behalf.
Okay.
Yes, he understands.
Okay, you're the architect.
Hey, one thing, sorry to interrupt. Since we're on TV now, you'll have to go over there anytime you say anything. So you have to go over to the microphone, please. So you'll be on television.
Okay, if
And,
you will.
Be a little different, yeah. Yeah.
Raise your right hand. You swear that any testimony or other evidence you will present before this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. You may have a seat, please.
All right.
First order of business on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the December 18th, 2013 meeting. All members have been given a copy of these minutes. I would note a necessary correction. Having to do with the election of officers. I've got a mix up on the pages on this copy I've got. On the election of officers, it is in the case it said the motion was seconded by Porter, motion passed unanimously. Then it gives ayes, Ally Williams and Lamarche, nays none, absence none, absent Ives and Porter. Ives and Porter were not absent.
We were here.
We were here for that meeting, so if we could just strike this.
Were you here for the September meeting? That's what it's talking about.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the September meeting.
That's not the election of officers.
That's
That's
not
the
the-
item one.
okay.
Turn it,
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
turn
September.
it there.
That
There you
was
go.
the
That's
September
That's
meeting.
September
Y'all were
25th meeting.
not there.
I wasn't here, I don't guess.
Oh, that's way back.
Yeah, that's going way back.
Yeah, it's been a
last
while.
year.
Yeah. If Mark says I wasn't here, I wasn't here.
Well, be that so. The opening line of these minutes say present were Ally, Lamarche, Ives, Porter, and Williams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're not here. Okay, yeah.
Well,
We can't be here and absent.
that's what I'm saying. Either
Well, we're abstaining, not absent.
Well, you were voting on it in December for the September minutes, but you couldn't vote on those minutes because you weren't at that meeting. So that's why you
we
abstained.
abstained. We wasn't there. It's correct.
That makes
Okay.
sense. It's a little bit
we
confusing.
abstained for these for the September 25th meetings, approval for those. Okay, we abstained from those.
You abstained from those because you were not at
Yeah,
that September
because
meeting.
we were absent.
That's
But
right.
when you get back
It doesn't say we were
to
there.
this later action, Porter and Ives were present.
Yes.
That was for
The
December.
motion was seconded by Porter. Motion passed was unanimous.
We were present.
Then
for
they
this.
list absence, none, abstaining, Ives and Porter. Ives and Porter were not absent.
Yeah, we were here for the December 18th meeting.
Yeah. See what I'm saying, Mark?
Oh, yeah, on that one, yeah.
See it? All you have to do is strike those.
There would be
four
none there, yeah, and put the, yes,
lines.
you're
You
right.
just say that motion was passed unanimously,
Yes.
and you previously said everybody was present.
Yeah, I got you on that one item, yes.
Anybody else have any
That's
other
easy.
corrections? Do I have a motion to pass the minutes as
I
written
sec-
and corrected?
So moved.
I'll
Second.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Have any noes? Okay, passed unanimously. Second item on the agenda, a public hearing on a request for a special exception to expand a non-conforming building at 428 Lost Tree Lane. Stuart Anderson Design to the applicant. The chair would like to say, before we start this, that this application is almost identical to a previous application we had from another occupant of a like dwelling, which was passed by the board.
Yes, that's
Bring this
correct.
precedence to
Bailey.
the mind of the board for action. Do you have anything to say on this, Mark?
Well, that's a good general statement because it's accurate. Just to show you the that area there is where the covered porch, the new porch, is proposed. There's an existing uncovered porch that actually I believe it goes something like that. Is that right? Yeah. So actually, in some ways, the existing uncovered porch, it protrudes closer to that rear property line and further within the 10-foot drainage and utility easement than what they're proposing. Yeah, this is very similar to Mr. Bailey's request that was reviewed back in September. This one, similar to Mr. Bailey's, this is in the Fox Den Villas. It predates the zoning that's in place for this development currently. None of the structures out there meet most any of the zoning requirements in the R2 zoning district, which is what this development is zoned. So the building is already, is well into all different setbacks, lot coverages, and similar to Mr. Bailey's request, the proposed area that's to be covered is within an existing 10-foot drainage and utility easement along the rear property line. That easement in that area back there, and you can see where both the existing uncovered porch and the proposed porch are well within that. The staff feels that since this is, for all practical and purposes, it's identical to the request we reviewed in September, that the board should be consistent with the action taken in September and for the same reasons for granting such action. And in terms of this first item, which deals with the proposed expansion of a non-conforming building, the staff would recommend to follow that action from September. And basically the reasons at that time were that the entire development predated the town's zoning, and the requested expansion in comparison to what's already out there does not notably exacerbate the condition of nonconformity. The one area where there is currently no covered structures, similar to Mr. Bailey's request, is within that 10-foot drainage and utility easement. And similar to that action taken, the staff would recommend that a covenant be prepared, approved by the town attorney, that runs with the land, that basically would protect the town and utilities, anyone that has an interest in that easement, from having to incur any costs related to any removal or damage caused by the presence of that covered structure within that platted easement. They in fact are very much aware of this covenant. They've already gone to the same attorney that drafted the one that was recorded for Mr. Bailey. And there's an exhibit in your packet which has that draft wording. It hasn't been executed, of course, because they haven't come before you all. But it's the same, you know, very similar language, and with those points noted, the staff would recommend that the same action be followed as was taken in September.
Does any member of the board have any questions for Mark?
Yes, I do. Looking over this Exhibit C, and that is this covenant agreement, did we have this with Bailey?
Yes, we do.
Okay, on Bailey's, did it also say that for him, his heirs, successors, and whoever purchases the house in the future, whoever owns the property?
To be honest, I haven't compared it word for word to Mr. Bailey's because
But anyway,
their
what it has-
document's going to have to be reviewed by our town attorney.
What it has on here is owner for herself and her heirs, successors, and assigns. Hereby, what is assigns?
I'm not sure. That's probably just some legal verbiage.
Keith?
Probably anyone.
To anyone who assigns an interest, it's basically giving a legal right to control the property. So if you assign it, they stand in your same place instead to do the same thing. So it's just like anyone who inherits it but legally assigns it, which means gives the right to control it, maintain it, occupy it, so on and so forth. So
That means renting it out.
absolutely, it means anyone who is legally assigned to control the property. Now, renters typically don't have the same interest as the landowner, so
Yeah. The owner would still own it.
the
But
owner,
what about someone that buys it?
absolutely, that would be an assign.
That is an
Because they're
assign.
assigning
New
the
owner,
right-
a
they're
new
assigning the-
owner would be an assign.
Yep,
Yeah.
they're
Okay.
assigning their right and interest in it.
Okay, I understand what assign means then.
Anybody else have questions for Mark?
Yeah,
All right, sir, your turn.
I've got a question.
I'm sorry.
In the corner of the, let me find it. In the corner there, it says a gas grill. That's 6 inches from the property line, and then the other corner's 2.5 feet from the property line. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is this a utility gas, or is it propane?
Propane fed from the existing feed off the house.
Stuart, you'll have to go to the mic if you say anything. Sorry.
Yes, the that grill is a your typical residential style propane gas grill, and it's fed off a line that comes off the house.
Where's the propane stored at?
You'll have to go to the microphone. You'll have to go to the
Oh.
microphone. Sorry.
You get to speak anyway.
She has to be sworn in.
Where is that?
I'm sorry, we'd have to swear you in too.
That's okay. I'm Mary Ann, I'm the owner. I asked Stuart to design me a little area where I could put a small Weber gas grill that has the tank below it.
Okay.
So it is not plumbed into any existing gas line.
Okay,
Got it.
you answered my question.
Yes, I'm sorry, we hadn't really gotten to details on the grill itself.
Anybody have anything else for Mark? All right, your turn.
Okay, well, honestly, I'd have a hard time coming up with a whole lot more to our case that Mark hasn't already spoken of. I mean, as he mentioned, we are basically piggybacking on the work that Mr. Bailey did on his previous variance application. It's obviously a case where the R2 zoning that was placed onto this property and onto the neighborhood as a whole is in rather blatant contradiction to the way that this planned unit development was designed back in its day. So basically every single design constraint that would otherwise be imposed upon this property would make any reasonable use of the property almost basically impossible. So that's why we're here today.
Anybody have any questions for this gentleman? Well, we have all the necessary documents. Mark, this copy of the easement of covenants and agreements, it's not signed by the mayor, it's not dated. Is the original?
That's just a draft. They can't do anything with that until they know what you all are wanting to do with it, with their action.
Okay, so this hasn't actually
Their
been
request.
executed.
No. It would have to still be forwarded to Tom Hale. He'd have to look it over, even though it shouldn't be any problems. It appears to be very, pretty much identical, other than obviously the change of property. But then it would have to be executed and signed by the mayor and then recorded at the Register of Deeds, and then we get a copy of the recorded covenant back here at the town hall so that we would have it in the property file for this particular address. So that if anyone was needing that information, they wouldn't have to go all the way downtown to obtain it, if you couldn't get it electronically, which I think you could. But so that would be the process for this as far as the covenant goes.
Have you read this draft?
The covenant?
Yeah.
I have read it. I have not compared it to Mr. Bailey's verbatim. I did compare it, just
So we have not legally gone through this.
it would have to be made as a motion such that similar to Mr. Bailey's, because there wasn't anything that we reviewed prior to taking action on his, that the document would have to be reviewed and approved by the town attorney.
Okay, since we have two items on the agenda for this one, for a hearing on the request for a special exception to expanding a non-conforming building, and the other item on the agenda is a request for a hearing for a setback variance related to the proposed addition. So we'll vote on them separately.
Yes. Yep.
On item number 2, the request for a special exception, do I have a motion to grant the exception or to deny the exception?
I would so move.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
That's subject to the same reasoning that was specified in September.
I'd go ahead and specify that the motion to approve it is because the requested expansion does not greatly exacerbate the problems that is already there, and in fact, to some extent, removes part of the problem because the existing unimproved uncovered deck actually encroaches more into the easement than does the covered structure. In order to address the area of the new encroachment within the drainage and utility easement, I would stipulate the motion that the applicant must prepare the covenant outlined by the staff, subject to the town's attorney's approval and the town's approval.
We have a proposed amendment to the motion for item number 2. We'll take the vote on item 2. Those in favor of approving with the stated exception, signify by saying aye.
Did somebody second Keith's motion?
What?
Yeah, I did.
You seconded it? Okay.
Those
I'm
in-
sorry.
Those in favor of granting the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, item number 2 is approved, and the exception is granted. Okay, item number 3.
Corky, can I ask a question, please,
Yeah.
if I may? I'd have to ask it to them, if I may. Do you all understand what we're doing here? If something goes wrong with any of the utilities under this construction, It's your responsibility and your cost to have it taken care of.
We are absolutely
You understand?
on board with that. Yes, that's a
I want
risk
that to go
we're
on record
willing to
so
take.
you know what
And
you're into, and anybody else that gets this after you, they're into this same obligation.
there's absolutely no misunderstanding
All
about
right,
this.
thanks.
Right. I appreciate that.
Does anybody propose any amendments to this motion? Okay, therefore, could I have a motion to approve item number 3?
Also move that again.
You move it.
Yes,
Okay.
please,
Do I have a-
with the same stipulations as before.
Yep.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay, it's passed unanimously. So you're all set.
Thank you very much.
Is there any other business to bring before the board?
Not any voting items. I do have a training session. We'll adjourn the meeting
Yeah.
for that.
Training
Thank
session
you all.
after the meeting.
That's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
To the town administrator, Denise,
Yeah,
How you day doing today?
doing that kind of
been
stuff.
good.
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 And she did it. She took it over. And I said,
been
okay,
trying to
Eddie, it's
quit-
time for
trying
a
to quit
committee to
smoking.
disband.
Oh, we were talking about smoking a few seconds ago.
I'm visiting the baker
Now, look,
shop.
on to the first thing,
So how long you been smoking?
where I was for about
Gosh, I started nursing school, so
6 or 8 years. Then I got sick on. It's one of the few.
You know what
back
happened to
in the
me?
late sixties.
I was smoking one time.
Yeah,
I was
because
smoking up
I,
to 2 packs
in the-
plus a day.
in the meetings, I was asking,
And
questions.
in 1978,
asked.
1976,
why do we compare our
a man
perceptions
prayed for me,
to
laid hands on me, and guess what?
Why not?
I started smoking instantly, never smoked a cigarette
Oh
since.
gosh, where is he? Is he
area.
still? I need him to do that for me.
Marty, did
It's
you
the
go to
hardest
Jamaica?
thing I've ever tried.
No, cannot go.
And I know
I was mixed up on what week it was.
Jerry and I were over
Really
with
is.
it, and you didn't go to
I'm an
Jamaica
RN.
either.
I had a meeting,
And I already have breathing issues. I have asthma.
Yeah, yeah.
Next year, we need to all go and get us
I'm
some
good. How are
table.
you?
I had something that ran out.
How you
It was
doing?
like 30 minutes.
Okay.
I was like, there's no way I can make
You didn't go to Banks?
it. So,
No,
I didn't know about it.
Linda, you had 20 years in. I didn't even realize that. 20 years. I know. I found out. They
See, I've been
called.
on here for
3/4.
6
I don't even smoke a pack.
Gosh, I've been
I
on.
used to smoke 2 packs a day.
No, you've been on long.
I used to smoke, that was a long time ago. I got
I've been
2
on
packs.
4.
Plus one
Going
of
on
the
4,
bum
I
off
think.
someone else.
Yeah, because you were on, got
You
on.
know how much I pay for a carton?
Huh?
You know how much I pay for
Well,
cigarettes?
looks like it's 7 o'clock. Are we good to go,
No,
Mark?
you don't.
All right, it's 7 o'clock, so we'll bring this month's meeting to order for the Visual Resources Review Board, Town of Farragut. First item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the last meeting in March. Is there any discussion on the minutes from last month?
Well, no discussion on the minutes as such, but I'm curious as to if the Farragut Business Alliance has had a
Yeah,
meeting on,
the vehicles.
Yeah, yeah, I'll probably, I was gonna update you on that.
oh, okay.
We ended up, I ended up citing a couple of entities to court dealing with the vehicular
I thought you did.
signage. Because it's, in the staff's view, in violation of the current wording, and the judge did find the one entity in violation. So we felt that as long as the staff is the way we're applying it, we felt at this time we probably wouldn't revisit that section of the sign ordinance. And we would just, you know, it's not really been an issue until, you know, these recent entities. It probably is something that when we review the sign ordinance, perhaps in the near future more comprehensively, because we're getting ready to undertake the architectural design standards that I know Marty and I have been a little bit involved with, and you all will be involved with that process. So that could have some implications to our sign ordinance. So we'll probably just revisit all that stuff collectively and more comprehensively, and just kind of apply this vehicular signage aspect of the ordinance. Now, the way we have historically, it hasn't, like I said, really been an issue until recently. So, you know, unless somebody formally applies to change the sign ordinance, which that's a whole other story. I mean, they can always do that. There's a process for going through that if they wish to do that. But we felt right at this point, since they were found to be guilty and in violation of the ordinance, that we would probably just keep it like it is for now.
One other question before we proceed. Did you contact the people that were here that night to let them know? Or, you know, because we had told them that we would, I thought they were kind of under the impression that we were going to kind of let them know what the Business Alliance had said.
Oh, yeah, we met with the representatives
Okay.
of the Business Alliance, and they felt like it might be
So
better.
someone, okay.
Yeah, maybe deal with it more comprehensively. See how the architectural design process goes, and then we're undertaking the branding process too. That some of those things could have some impacts on our sign ordinance.
Okay.
And maybe we can approach it more comprehensively and deal with this and other elements of the sign ordinance. I guess if the philosophy right now, if it's not broken, don't mess with it. And it's really, like I say, it's not been a real issue until lately, and we'll just have to apply the ordinance as we always have and be fair about it. And and if somebody does want to try to change that aspect of the ordinance, they certainly have a right to do that. Just like the 5-story office folks that we looked at last month, that are going through the process now with the Planning Commission. So
I have an observation on
Uh-huh.
the sign, for all it's worth. I went looking for 2 of the vapor stores this week.
mhm.
I looked for Silo cigars,
Yeah.
and I like to have never found it. I did find it, but the sign did not make it easy for me to find it, and I live in
The wall sign, yeah.
right. Same thing with Mike's Vapors.
Mhm.
I did not realize, and again, emphasizing I live in Farragut. The sign is on the front of the road, but the business is on the back of that building, and there's nothing that directs you to the back of that building. And until I just drove back there, I didn't even realize there were businesses back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So as a
Okay.
consumer and a customer, but also as a resident, we do have some things that need to be desired, because I could not find any of these places. So that's just an
Yeah.
observation.
Yeah, that Mike's is a tough location. It's really
Yeah.
kind of an office space more than
Wonderful
retail.
business, though. They're
Yeah.
very nice
Nice people. It's just a tough one, and they knew about that when they moved in there, that it's not really the most visible spot. But yeah, it's at least it gets you to the parking lot, the sign at the road.
Yeah.
And then you have to kind of hunt around, I guess. But yeah, I mean, there's always things that need to be probably tweaked in the sign ordinance, I'm sure. It's constant. It's an evolving document, so we've amended it many times over the years. But hopefully it'll, we'll look at it a little more comprehensively in the near future.
All right, any other discussion on the minutes? We have a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Doubled.
All right, the second item on our agenda are a few wall signs that were approved over the last month, 4 of them there. Does the board have any questions on those or any information we need to share as far as those are concerned, Mark?
No, 2 vapor stores, so
Very
got
popular.
3 or 4 here
Yeah.
in town now.
They're popping up everywhere,
That's
it seems
the
like.
craze. Probably better than smoking a cigarette, I guess.
All right, well, we'll move on to the ground-mounted sign applications. The first item on our agenda is the Pleasant Forest Cemetery. Someone here representing Pleasant Forest.
Oh.
Hi. Good evening. How are you this evening? Good.
Must be the Eagle
Right.
Scout.
Hi everyone, my name is Sean Lee. I'm a Life Scout currently with Troop 15 over at Virtue Cumberland Presbyterian Church on Virtue Road. And I'm looking to do an Eagle project, some renovation at the cemetery over there, the Pleasant Forest Cemetery. The side that's adjacent to the entrance of Concord Hills subdivision has kind of been neglected, so definitely going to do some, obviously immediate stuff like the grass and putting in some new plants to, kind of boost the curb appeal. There's a white fence there that I'm going to do repairs on and clean with a pressure washer. But what you see up there is the plans. I would like to put in a granite monument to mark where the cemetery is, engraved. I've already talked to a monument company in Lenore City. They've hooked me up with a price and everything on it's a 4 foot tall, 18-inch wide granite piece. It's about 4 inches thick. And I could put it right, I talked with Mr. Shipley obviously about having it 10 feet back from the property line, but put it there and do landscaping around it and that kind of thing. So I think it would give a lot of recognition respectfully to the cemetery and those who are buried there, the families there, and I think it would increase the curb appeal. It would look very respectful.
I am so proud of you for doing this because you're right, it has been neglected for a very long time.
Thank you.
So I don't know how you came up with it, but I'm very proud that you did.
Thank you.
Will there be any lighting supporting that project?
Lighting?
Yes.
No, sir.
No.
No.
Is there a sign there now?
There is on the side of the cemetery that's across the street from Concord Hills subdivision, but currently there's no sign on the other side of the street.
Okay. I was thinking there's a couple of famous people buried there,
There-
isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
They're all.
Yeah. It's, one of the guys from the Revolutionary War.
Archibald
One of the
Roan.
first governors?
Yeah.
The most
I hope the
Archibald
paper
Roan.
does something
Rome.
with this so that, because a lot of people in Farragut, they don't even know that exists.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that whenever you start to do this, that the paper will kind of bring it to light for
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
people.
I've talked with both the caretakers for. A lot of people don't realize there's 2 separate cemeteries, with 2 separate caretakers, and I've spoken with both of them, and they've given me a lot of the history on the cemetery and stuff. And I don't think a lot of people realize that and realize how much is there, how much historical stuff. So
I didn't really even know about it until when my son was in high school. For some reason, he was doing a project or something and was hooked up with, and he came back, he was just like, I can't believe that this is here and no one knows about it.
Yeah.
So that's how I even,
yeah.
and I've been here, so. Well, I'm very glad that you came up with this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mark, did you see anything after you saw
No, it doesn't
Any
show up on the
suggestions?
screen, but it does. It says Pleasant Forest Cemetery on that blade on the
I
granite.
have another paper I can pass around to the board
Okay.
members.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
he may want, can you not put that on the?
Yeah, I can put it on the overhead
got
for
this.
you all, but it won't show up on the
Oh, yes, yeah, it is.
panel.
It's right there on the back of it. Yep,
Yeah,
so
it's
is this
similar
the
to
one
what's
that you
in the
wanted?
packet.
Yes, I think that looks very,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yep.
Are the groundskeepers gonna maintain this once you do it, or Boy Scouts gonna do it?
Well, see, part of the Eagle project is it can't be a project that requires maintenance, ongoing. It has to be something of permanence, which is why I'd like to put in the sign, and do the landscaping there. Obviously, I live in Concord Hills subdivision, so that project is going to become like my baby. And
That's good.
if I see something's wrong with it, I can obviously go over there and fix the landscaping if I need to, and put a little bit of my own time and money into it. So I'd be willing to take that responsibility and work alongside with the caretakers of the cemetery.
Can like one of the scout groups, troops adopt kind of No, they can't like,
I'm not sure. I could always talk.
that would be a neat,
I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mr. Mike Carnitz. He's the caretaker for the cemetery. He's a really nice guy. I could ask him.
if
I'm not
anybody's
sure.
interested.
Yeah.
When the, if and when they do a piece, then that may
Mhm.
be kind of bring that out to the paper so that
Yeah,
somebody may get an idea of doing that.
definitely.
That should just be normal caretaking in the
Yeah.
cemetery, I would think.
They already have a lawn service that does that, so I'd
Yeah,
imagine that kind of
yeah.
includes, the weeds and the leaves and stuff. But I mean, obviously, if I'm doing the mulching and stuff in there with that needs to be taken care of. I can do that.
But no flowers, nobody, it's sad.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want to put some perennials in there that don't require a lot of maintenance for that reason.
Yeah.
Not so I don't have to go down there and spend, a lot of weekends each year replanting and landscaping and stuff.
So those flowers are gonna be for everybody there.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
I second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys can leave if you want to. I'm sure that you don't want to stay around.
Yeah, I'll send you an approval, a stamped approval, so you'll have that for your records.
Thank you.
Sounds like he could have your job someday.
Yeah, well.
Yep, he does. Bye.
Thank you.
I wish more
your
were like
future.
him,
Yeah.
don't you?
I don't know if I'd advise him to get into planning or not, but whatever.
Long days and nights.
All right, well, the next item's Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Are you all here for
Oh, then,
Enterprise?
well,
Are you here for Bridgemore? All right, well, we'll go to Bridgemore then.
I thought you looked familiar, but whatever.
Landscaping plan.
Yeah, this landscape plan is for the next phase in Bridgemore. So they've just gone through the planning commission with the concept plan and preliminary plat. This particular phase is as you come in from the boulevard off McPhee Road, the first public street on the right, it basically is an extension of that, and then there's a couple of cul-de-sacs off of this phase that are basically in the northeast corner of Bridgemore along McPhee Road. And this particular plan is for the detention retention basin that will be part of this phase. That's what's shown in the lower kind of middle part of the drawing there, and then the upper portion is the buffer area that it's actually part of an open space lot that's 25 feet wide that backs up to Fort West subdivision. And so what they've shown there is dividing that buffer into 100-foot sections, demonstrating that more or less the existing plant material that's on the Bridgemore property will fulfill a large portion of the buffer requirements. We cannot allow privet and invasive exotic material to count toward satisfying the requirement, but if there are any sections in this phase that don't meet the 12 plant units per 100 linear feet, then it would not be a lot of supplemental plant material they would have to add. It's pretty dense in there. But there is a lot of privet, and that does not count toward satisfying the buffer plant unit count per 100 feet. With that stipulation, the staff would recommend approval of this landscape plan. It should be very nice. And they may do some landscaping along McPhee Road in the future. It's not part of this plan, but that may be something that, if they so choose, it wouldn't be required by the town, but they may do that as well. So, and of course, the developer and the developers of the overall subdivision are here if you have any specific questions.
I'm a resident of Fort West, and I just was wondering, I know that you've met, I think, with them or had have you had any Broken Saddles where this is? So, so they've been pretty pleased, because I wasn't able to get to the meeting. It doesn't really affect me, but it does affect me. But did they have any suggestions or any of that, or were they pretty pleased? Because most of the, overall, your stuff is always really good anyway, so.
And if you don't mind, if you could.
Yeah,
up
you'll
here,
have to
yeah,
get-
we have
Oh,
to.
yeah, we have the.
You have to do the microphone thing if
You're
you're
on TV now.
if you're
Forgot about
answering
that.
questions.
Jerry White.
Jerry Whitehead, yes. Now, what we're exactly, we've had the meetings, and there a few people have come. Actually, there wasn't, I don't think, anyone at the last meeting.
Oh, really?
And I think the biggest thing everyone was concerned about
What?
was what was going to happen there behind the houses in both. And I think whatever it does, it'll benefit both
I
sides.
do too. So I just was wondering if they had any, because I get the notices and stuff, and it didn't seem like anything was, that nobody was upset, or, usually when something like this happens, there's usually, but I didn't get the impression that that was the case. So.
Well, everyone's going to try to do their best to make it the wonderful place
Well,
that
you've
we've
always done.
created. So,
And all the rest of the stuff that you've done, so I just was wanting to know that before I, because I knew that you'd had the meeting or something.
and of course, if there's any input or any questions, they're free to call us at any time, and we're pretty open. And I know they've lived there a long time, and I'm sure a lot of people would like for it to stay a farm, but that's what it was intended for and approved for. But it's going to, it'll be adding to the neighborhood too, because one of the big things is that it will keep it from being a place that people go to play.
Yeah.
And ride
Oh,
their
that's true,
motorcycles
because,
and
oh,
stuff.
those, yes. Well,
We
what
will-
about
we
the,
will
walking trail? Are you gonna, I know at a long time ago, they had talked about, connecting and going through. There's not gonna be any.
Well, we didn't, that was not part of Farragut's plan. I mean, Mark can tell you about that, but
Okay.
that was strictly for the inside. We're going to weave all over the place.
Okay.
And we've made, you might have a picture of the one, okay, that we're going to take one up between on top of the hills and stuff. There's one that winds through every side and then comes out on the trail, like where the.
Montgomery.
Yes.
Yes, so that's what okay.
And it goes all the way through the middle
They had talked about that a
of
long time ago,
Ridgemore
or-
and,
Okay. Good.
but that originally was drawn as to be, and that's where, when they're doing these plans, a lot of people
Things
get carried
change.
away. But it was really kind of impractical to have that walkway, so we're not going to have that one
Okay.
that's there anymore.
All right. Well, thank you.
Okay?
This unit will have sidewalks on both sides of the street. It does not have the walking trail through the stormwater
There.
area that what was on the preliminary plat. In lieu of that, they will be doing a new section in a subsequent phase that does, as Jerry said, kind of go up the hill, be a rather nice grade there, but they still are maintaining all the other pedestrian facilities in the remainder of the subdivision.
All right, is there any further discussion on the landscape plan as presented?
I make a motion, we accept it as
All right, I'm sorry, Mark, did you have a subject too at the very beginning?
Well, and I noted this to Mike Verson, the gentleman that prepared this. We'll have to look at that 100-foot section and make sure that we've got 12 qualifying trees in each 100-foot section. We can't count privet, even though there's a lot of privet in there, and it does provide a good buffer.
Mhm.
Some of that probably needs to be thinned out by hand or very small scale equipment, because it's got a lot of vines and honeysuckle and stuff in there that can compromise the trees that they're trying to use to satisfy the buffer requirements. In fact, it's already killed many trees along that border. Vines and things have gotten up into the trees and suffocated them. So that's something that I would be happy to look at with Jerry, both Jerry's and Susie, if they want, to look at going in there and kind of getting that buffer area to where it's still a buffer, but is not going to compromise the trees that we're trying to save in there.
What is a hackberry?
It's a native tree.
Is it like a holly type?
No,
tree,
it's a deciduous
so
tree.
Does it get large or?
Yeah, it can get very
really
large.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very.
'Cause there's a lot of those, and
A lot of hackberries, yeah. A lot of people consider them kind of weed trees. I don't. I think they're actually a pretty nice tree.
It doesn't resemble like a. I mean, I can't.
It's got little. It's hard to describe it really. But
It's
it
not
gets
a holly.
No,
Any
it's a
type-
deciduous tree. It's not evergreen. It's very large. It can get 50, 60 feet tall.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to. It's got kind of a warty looking bark sometimes when it gets bigger.
Okay.
Oftentimes it's in streams and fence rows like cedars, And
So we
it's-
don't have a lot of those around here.
Yeah, we have a lot of them. Yeah, they're a very common tree. Yep. Now, they're not things that you go to a nursery and buy to
Get.
plant, like hickory either. Neither are hickory, but hickory's one of the
So it's
prettiest
basically
trees
used for buffer.
there is.
It's-
It's just an existing native tree that would qualify toward their buffer count. Because those trees are way over 2 inches in caliper that are existing along that fence.
Okay.
And as long as it's over 2 inches in caliper and it's not invasive exotic, then it would qualify. Most of the stuff in that fence row that are trees are not invasive exotic. And now the stuff in that ditch, Paulownia and mimosa and things, those
Oh,
are
yeah.
invasive and exotic trees and Bradford pear that we actually encourage to be removed instead of saved. So,
If you don't, they'll fall eventually
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
They always
You
do.
can see this field over here that's got loaded with Bradford
Uh-huh.
pears coming from the town hall's trees. So, no, I don't. Not really. But just trees in general. All the Bradford pears in this general area, just the wind blows the seeds. The birds take the seeds and then they get spread. So,
Okay.
it's kind of a problem. But
All right, so we have a motion to approve with the addition of mark subject to.
Well, it has under landscape notes that, and my motion is to approve this as it's written right now. And it's
Mhm.
got under landscape notes that it would have to be verified with you and the planner to approve the trees
Yeah.
that are on there. So that's written on there.
All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Bye.
All right, the last item, going back to ground-mounted signs, we have the Enterprise Rent-A-Car, the new one coming in on Kingston Pike near Weigel's.
okay, I guess everyone knows what this is since it's under construction. And that's what the sign is to look like. The stone is to match the building stone. It's a rather small sign, actually. The size of the sign is big. It's only 20 square feet.
It just seems like a small place for a rental car. I mean, why did they
The
choose that
building's
sign?
small.
I,
It's tiny.
that would have to be something they could answer. I don't.
It's so tiny. The building, I mean, is small.
Yeah.
The sign.
Too small. Yeah.
It's the middle of nothing. I mean, so what, I mean, I can't see the draw for business there.
It was
I
residential
assume-
and
I'm sure they did their homework on it.
in the
Sure
past.
they did.
Yeah.
It just doesn't,
Yeah.
we'll see. Won't we?
The only comments I had on that were, and it doesn't even show up here, 'cause it's scanned into the PowerPoint, but the address numbers at the top are actually
Yep.
supposed to be 12019 instead of 12025.
1-2 what?
019, that's the assigned address from
Oh.
MPC. And then, of course, verifying the setbacks, which is a standard comment with the town staff. Subject to, with those two conditions, the staff would recommend approval of this monument sign. And this is a site plan. It shows the location. It's just north of the retaining wall that they've built out there. There's a lot of stuff going on in that general area. There's a walking trail going through there. Sidewalk connections to the parking lot, from the parking lot to the walking trail. But it fits in there.
It's a small.
So that was green around the E and then black? Was that the rest of the sign? The one you had up previously?
The E's
Yes,
gonna be
it's the
green?
enterprise green. Mhm.
And then the rest is black though?
Yes, sir.
Black and white?
Yeah, it
Black.
shows up better in your packet with that drawing than it does on this.
Yeah, it was
But-
just hard to tell exactly what colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I need to show you all something out of PowerPoint, unofficially here in a minute to look at their window decals and see if you think those are signs or not.
Okay.
I'll have to do that in the non-PowerPoint. Yeah, it's green. It shows up pretty well on in your packet. It's black, white, and green, kind of a light green.
And the letter sizes are pretty tall, it appears.
Yeah, the letters should be very visible. It's not a lot of stuff on the sign face. The rent-a-car seems to be very visible. It's small, but it's pretty. I think it would be very easy to read.
Be very easy to find.
Yeah.
But there's
Be very
nothing
easy to
else
find.
out there.
Right.
I would think so, yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. So I would recommend approval with those two conditions noted.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Any further discussion on Enterprise? All right, do we have a motion for approval?
I'll move to approve the enterprise sign
With the subject twos?
with the subject twos.
All right. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's everything that's on our agenda for this evening. Yep. You have a couple other things to show us before we go?
Yeah, let me get out of this and guess we'll officially adjourn the meeting, but